What's up, YouTube? Welcome back, DJ Reacts. Here is the third, and I think this is one of the best ones. This and the one where you get to see all of her altars. And my apologies. One of my videos, I called them splits. But yeah, when you split, you form those altars. I don't know if any of you has seen that movie called Split. That's an amazing movie, by the way. But it's not like that at all. There's no drastic. There's a way that you can tell when people have DID split, but it's very subtle. You're not gonna act like you're turning into the Hulk and then crawl up a wall because now you have superhuman abilities or any of that, or else everybody would want DID, to be Spider-Man or some shit. So, anyways, yeah, this is one of the ones I wanted to share with everyone because I think it was the hardest one to listen to, but it was for me. I was gonna say the nail in the coffin, but it's not even that. It's it's just the fact that hearing all of this from her, even though it's exceedingly difficult to listen to from a mental and emotional level. So if it's that hard to listen to, imagine what she's gone through having to experience that, you know? So least I can do is, get my bitch ass together and fucking show what she's been going through. That's the easy part on our end. But yeah, this one and the DID ones are, and then there's one more after that. I'm not sure how I'm gonna break that one up, but anyways, enough of that. Let's get into this.
Or I'll post it. I'll post it. I will probably get blocked on here again if I put it on my story. But I know you guys have seen this picture. There's a picture of a baby. They got a picture of a bunch of kids tied to a wall that's actually an auction. They're tied to a wall and they're hanging on the wall. That's another form of an auction. Some auctions are very pretty. Some you get to stand, some you got to I had some really weird auctions. Some you're tied to a wall like produce or like retail. And basically like you're picking a t-shirt or you're picking clothes. Buyers come through wherever you're at, wherever they put you, and they literally like, okay, there's a white kid, there's a black kid, there's an Indian kid, there's a girl, there's a guy. They check how big they check how much space has, they check your.
Let me pause right there. So this one is censored heavily. The one I was looking for, it had gotten taken down. I saw it like within a few hours of it being up, right? And not upright, but upright, correct. And after that it was taken down. So I can't find that one anymore. But just read her lips and you'll see what she's saying because you don't have to be, a lip reading expert or deaf to really understand what she's saying. But that was what was the difficult part of me because, hurt people hurt people. So luckily she's in a situation now to where she's not she hasn't turned into the people who have done those wrongs against her. But, it's still important to hear what she's saying, and whether you guys already know what I think about the censorship. I'm not gonna get into a conversation about that. But that's what made this one the most difficult one for me to listen to. And I think I said this in the first video. The only thing that I could really even the only factual, truthful thing that, that I had in, my suitcase of resourcefulness was the Jesuit manifesto from the Black Pope. That's the only thing. I've said that a few times on here. That up until her, that was the absolute most difficult thing I've ever come across trying to read. And because if you don't get that guttural instinctive feeling of helplessness and disgust at the same time, then you might have some issues going on. But just read her lips. I can't put the words back in. I'll see if I can find it. I'll try to find it. But if I can't, just watch her lips. You can pretty much tell what she's saying because unlike the gentleman that was speaking a few seconds ago who made this, she actually enunciates her words and moves her lips properly. So, yeah, you should be able to tell with no problem.
Teeth, they check, um, they check your anal cavity, they check everything. They have a taste. They walk into a room and they have basically like how you have, if you walk into a car lot and you're like, can I turn on the car? Can I sit in the car? Can I open the door? Can I sit in the seat? That's literally what's going on in an auction. For children, for 6-year-olds, for 7-year-olds. They walk into an auction and they will say like, I will buy for a test sample of 2 fingers. I will buy for a test sample of a full hand. And they literally get to walk up to a 6-year-old. That is what we're talking about.
Wow. I know you guys got that. Just the when you hear this stuff, like we all know how depraved humankind is. We and we've heard stories about the levels of depravity that come and go with specific people, in these arenas. And I always question, like, even with my behavioral studies, with my clinical psychology and studies in behavioral sciences and why people do the things that they do. I never understood this. I never understood people traditionally are not like, yeah, there's some that are born that way, but take Diddy, for instance. He wasn't that way from the get go. Now, I'm not talking about his sexuality at all. I'm saying the the, the levels of depravity that he's shown. He didn't come out like that. Uh, he came out a long time ago, but it wasn't in that manner. And that happened because of Clive Owen, because of Andre. Uh, what was it? Andre Renes Herreras. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. And so yeah, those were his mentors. And so because he had to go through those humiliation rituals with them, he had to do all of these things with them. All this stuff that she's talking about, these are the people that hold a lot of those events, but they do it in a much more public light because they have these parties that are lavished and just tens of millions of dollars for these parties. And then just like you see in some of the videos, it is like, all right, so children are going to be leaving in about an hour, so say your goodbyes and then we're on to the adult part of the night. But that's that's what you would expect from them. But what you don't expect is, I'll give you an example that I know personally. Not personally. Uh so Germany, where I'm from, we have never had a big history of this kind of thing ever. It's not in our culture, it's not in our nature. Yeah, there's some bad people here and there, but it's far and few between when you're talking about the largest and richest nation sitting in the middle of Europe, which is Germany, right? And so now these types of crimes have become a major problem. And one of the reasons it's become a major problem is because when Germany keeps the gloves on, like they've been doing, and trying to, I don't know, remake their image, which they can't do, and they pander to the rest of the world, and they're like, well, we're going to take in more uh, refugees than the rest of you. We're going to take in a whole lot more. Remember what happened the last time we did that? it didn't go well for them. But even now, and so one of the big things is, and I've seen interviews where people go undercover and they speak to these people, and they're obviously they're immigrants, usually Syrian, Middle Eastern of some sense. But with them, and even with my friends and family that are Muslim, I've got friends that are Sunni, I've got friends that are Shia, and the funny thing is, they all say the same thing. If it's not haram, meaning forbidden, if it's not explicitly listed as forbidden, we can do it. So that's the reason why they have these houses. And usually they're dealing with like American or European bankers. And just like she said, I've seen some of the undercover stores, just like she said, they'll call it in like they're ordering a pizza because they have these tastes. Now, if they don't have what he's wanting, they'll go out and kidnap it. And that's one of the major reasons why you see that same type of mentality here. People are like, well, why are there, 800,000 undocumented or documented children under 18 going missing in the US? Why are there 500,000 estimated undocumented going missing in the US? And 85% of these missing children are going missing in our national parks and forests. How is that? Right? Think about that. So, one of the few places where you should be safe, which is beautiful national park, beautiful forest. Imagine going to Niagara Falls. Well, that's not ours. Half of it is. But, anyways, going to the Grand Canyon, and you go down the path that nobody's on, and the next thing you know, they're snatched up. Nobody knows what happened because what you thought was still sandstone and canyon walls was actually a door that they got snatched up in. And it happens so much. That's a regular thing that happens. It's so regular that people don't even believe it. That's the crazy thing. Even even Hitler said, "Tell a lie enough times, and everybody will believe it." And it seems like that's what's happened with a lot of this. But the fact that it's coming out now and it's being put out there, I love this. So I'll post all the stuff I can to put it out there because everyone needs to understand this. I'll quit yapping. Sorry for that. But I just wanted to say that because I don't know if a lot of people have heard, that her side and then the other side. So I just want to put out as much info as possible.
You have people, there's a picture of a baby, like maybe 5, 6 years old. It's a little baby boy, and he has like a leash around his neck, and they're walking him around, and he's butt naked. And everybody has seen this picture before. The thing with that's also a test. Somebody will sit on the floor, somebody will sit on the floor, a guy will come on the floor, a female will on the floor, and they will bring in a child to walk through that, to play in it, to lay in it, to put on their body, to lick it, to see if they can walk around and act like a dog, to lick their shoe, to see how well their gag reflexes are. It's a gag reflex check. So if they come in and somebody starts on the floor and they bring in a child, they're going to check for that child's gag reflex by putting them in the middle of that and seeing if they throw up. That's what we're talking about. You get me now? But you have attorneys that are going to be working right now trying to get Ghislaine off on technicalities. So keep all that shit in mind. They will take bars if say for us they're saying like I don't want to today. I just want to participate in this auction, right? They will have something there that looks like a broomstick, and they will walk a child around, and they will make them lay on the floor, and they will take that and stab them with it, whatever. And they see what the gag reflex is. They see if they cry. They see if they don't have a reaction. They see how well the drugs are taking, what drugs they're on, if they'll cry, if they'll be loud, if they'll moan, if they'll whatever. For the teenagers, it's a whole different ballgame. The teenagers, they will see if their body naturally gets wet. And then it's their fault. If your body will automatically start to respond to what's going on. If you don't, you're a defect. So ladies, if you stay dry, you're a defect. Then they really mess you up.
Think about that. Think about that. If your body does what it would naturally do in a situation, then to them you're defective. Just think about that. You said teenager, so this could be anybody from 13 to 17, I'd wager. But I'm sure most of it's on the former part of that age scale and not the latter. But I mean, just think about that. Like how I don't even know how. Like what I can't even get out one damn. I got so much stuff going through my head. Like if you were in that situation and you've been in these situations, or even if you haven't, and your body does what it's naturally supposed to do, which is engrossed and disgusted, then they turn up the torture and the stuff because to them you're defective. Wow, wow, and these are the people. And I want to reiterate this. These are the people that everybody's, oh, what are the Kardashians doing? What's Oprah talking about? She give out any cars or houses and blah, 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 bliggity, blah. But this is what's really going on with these people. And I got something, oh, I got something real nice about Oprah I'm working on. But yeah, I, I just don't. I love the fact that the majority of Americans have turned off or switched from cable TV because that's putting you in that beta mind state. So I'm so glad that most people are doing that. And even though subscriptions aren't cheap either, it's a lot better for, well, for everyone. But also, this is the this is one of the reasons they want to ban TikTok and all of these other apps because of how quick information gets out there now. They don't like that at all. They don't like that one bit. And so TikTok even opened up uh, a sister HQ in Texas, and it's ran by all Americans just to pacify the United States government. So they're like, we're not hiding anything. You guys can completely take the other side. But what a lot of people didn't know back then was the TikTok that we watch and the TikTok that they watch are two different TikToks. So when it was for them, if you were under 18, you would have a 3 second delay between each scroll. And after five scrolls, it would pop up something from STEM, science, technology, and engineering and math. So it would say, don't you want to learn about your country's history? Don't you want to see how physics is applicable in your daily life? All of these things. And so, but then you're looking at, Americans and they're out here, that shit made Americans look so bad. They're out here eating fucking Tide Pods and dancing like lunatics, and then following these people that are dancing. it's, ugh. But yeah, yeah, it's just bad. All of it's just so off the scale, off of any fucking scale. Bad. It's almost not almost. It is unfathomable for most people. It is.
Then they put stuff on Bill and they make sure that kid and they're bleeding, then that takes more power because there's adrenochrome, there's power, and then it's their fault if your body will automatically start to respond to what's going on. If you don't, you're a defect. So ladies, if you stay dry, you're a defect. Then they really mess you up. Then that goes into bondage and torture fetishes. Then that goes into blood fetishes, because if you're not ready, and if there's no way that they can just do whatever they want to do and just get it over with, then they put stuff on Bill and they make sure that kid and they're bleeding, then that takes more power because there's adrenochrome, there's power, there's control, there's extra money because you're paying to get rough. There's so much shit that you guys are not realizing that what this life is. These are children. And after the auction, sometimes they don't even buy the kid, they just messed up. It's just a sample. So say Fords, they go into a room and they out of a 7-year-old with a dildo and a machine, and they turn a machine on and they say, oh, she started bleeding, so now she's damaged. I don't want that one. Guess what? They don't. Now you're going to get your pick because you started bleeding. You're going to get beat because you fucked up. And at first they were sampling you like they were going to buy you, and now they're not going to buy you. And they until the next job, the next auction, the next whatever is going to be next. Now you got to go back to that, and now you got to deal with whatever they just did to you. So if you're bleeding, if they spit on you, if they used bottles, if they used alcohol, if they used something else that made you sick, now you got to go. There is no shower. There is no, I'm going to go pee. There is no, I'm just going to go wipe off. No, it don't work that way. You go back to wherever they were holding you. You sit there and you pray to God that you don't die. You don't get a disease. You don't get sick. You don't have an issue where you need help. You got to do it. And if you die, your neck, if they have to, or they just go bury you somewhere and it's over. The baby farms. This happens on baby farms too. You do understand that, right? Where they're holding babies, newborn babies, fresh out of the hospital babies. There are people who have fetishes on hearing a baby's ribs crack as they have. There are people who have a sick fetish and taking enjoyment and feeling their ribs.
Yeah, I got to take a pause after that. Yeah, I had to take a quick break off of that one. That was the same part in the first time that I watched this when it wasn't censored that I had the same reaction with. It's just there's no words to describe that. But I mean, you see how, and I'm not sure which altar this is that's talking here. But I know it's one of the primary ones because she protects all of the other altars when the torment, torture, however you want to call it, is too much. And I remember hearing that the first time, and you just you're not expecting that. Even though your worst, like the worst, I would hope most people's worst part of their minds would never even think of any of this, but obviously there's people who do. But just your average person, I'm talking about. Your mind would never even go there. Not even close. I know that mine didn't. You know. But yeah, it's just. I mean, that's tough to hear. So imagine. There's no way you can imagine. You can't fathom what you would have to do or endure in those types of situations. We're just listening to it. She's gone through it, you know? That people shouldn't have to go through that, obviously. I don't even know why I said that. That's obvious, but it's just so far. I don't know.
You get me now? There's men and females who feel like they're real and they have enjoyment and hearing what it sounds like to break a child's ribs. You know that cracking sound of your knuckles? You know that sound? Yeah, it makes a crazy ass sound when you break somebody's ribs. It makes you breathe in too. It makes more pleasure for them when you breathe in.
That is so insane to hear. I've broken a lot of people's ribs, and I've had mine broken once, fractured like 7 or 8 times because I used to be a Muay Thai fighter. But yeah, she's right. You have to take shallow breaths and can't breathe out really well. It all has to be shallow because you've got part of your body that's supposed to be protecting your organs just turned into a bunch of daggers for your organs, depending on how many you've broken. I don't know how many people listening have ever had their ribs broken or fractured, but yeah, it's not. That's some of the toughest pain just because it affects something you do subconsciously, which is breathing. So yeah, but that's completely different than what she's talking about. I mean, as to the basis of why. You know.
Ask me how I know. These are babies. There's baby farms. The hospital sells babies to these baby farms. They put them in the little beds that you see when you go visit the baby right after they're born and you're like, "Oh my god, it's a girl." No, they go put them in these little things and then people go down there and poke at them. People go down there and stick them. People go down there and open their diaper them. You remember that picture of the Pope sucking on a baby? Do you remember that? You think that was a joke? You remember the rabbi and the baby is screaming its head off? You think that's only what they do? So there's people at a baby farm. There's nobody holding the baby and oh my gosh, it's crying and I'm just going to dress it and feed it and clothe it and give it a bath. No, they're experimenting and they're poking at them and they're seeing which babies can take sexual trauma.
Man, I know it's probably been just minutes for you all, but I just have to keep taking breaks. It's just gotta keep. I've got to keep taking breaks. You can't even fathom that kind of thing, and you hear about it so much. You hear about these baby farms, and if you watch, like, I'm a big fan of watching real life interrogations just because of the psychology behind it. And when you watch an interrogation with like one of these nurses that has been in charge of stealing these babies or excuse me what have you, and they ask them how How do the parents not notice? And they're like, well, it's a newborn. You know, unless your newborn has very specific traits, it's kind of easy to just swap them out, you know? And, they also say so many women don't want them. They don't want to be mothers, but they're also pro life. So they give it up to one of these organizations like CPS or any of these, evil empires that do this stuff with children. And nobody's the wiser. And that's the insanity about it because these are government entities. It's not like like a damn oil change place where there's a bunch of them all over the country. These are government entities, and it's just insane that that is so rampant. How I don't even know how to answer. How do you answer that? How does it get so rampant? How do you, as a human being, without having any prior abuse done to you, if that's the case, no abuse done to you, how do you get to the point? I don't know. It's got to be like with what happens with people that have psychopathy or pedophilia. It's got to be an actual reverse wiring of synapses in their brain because with like pedophiles, their synapses are backwards. So when a normal man looks at a woman, you know, normal mature feelings, if they have those, come to play. But then you see a child and you're like, oh, love it, protect it, all of these good things. But no, with them it's backwards. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of psychiatrists that have said, what do we do with them? Do we just put them all on an island and put them all down? Can we use them for something? What do we do with them? These are actual talks I've heard by PhD professors. It's not going to be in your normal. It's not going to be a TED talk, but serious people are saying these things just because of the insanity of it all. Anyways, let me get back to it.
That's what baby farms are. So you imagine looking at a newborn baby and then being in a room over and hearing it scream its head off when somebody's cracking its ribs. This is the war we're in. The fact that Ghislaine even has anybody willing to represent her is absurd and ridiculous. I need to be looking on the attorneys. Job or no job, would you do that morally? There's no justification for that. And some people are like, and especially this whole situation with, this whole fuckhead Stephen Kelly. I had to kill someone to get out. I had to do what I had to do to get out. What would you do if you heard somebody in the next room over telling somebody else that, when I go in this room, I'm going to have sex with them. And then after that, if they cry or if they fight me, I'm just going to slit their throat or break their neck. What would you do? If you're sitting behind that door and you're listening to that, what are you going to do? Because my attitude changed when I would hear somebody talk about me like that. I can't tell you how many times my pimp told me, you either get on that stage and do what I tell you to do, or I'll make sure that while they cut up, slot as a puppet. I'm like, got it. Machines? Anyone? Machines? On that note, well, when you put it like that, I'll get my ass on the stage. I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me if you fuck up on that stage, I promise you when you get off, you're gonna regret it. Like, all right, tell me what you want me to do. Because I can't fight you. I'm not gonna win this fight. I've had 5 or 6 dudes, big ass dudes, on me, holding me down, and I was still bucking some of them off. Because my pimp, I talked back to my John, my order, not my pimp, my John. I was on order with somebody, and he was supposed to be able to do whatever he wanted to do. I wasn't having it one day. I just couldn't deal with it. And on top of that, I was on my period. I'll never forget that shit. I was starting my period, and I was like, I can't do this. He wanted to taste my. You want me to make you sick?
Lucky for you, I remember. Oh, oh. She's saying blood clots is what she's saying, so that's sinking.
He wanted to taste my blood. He was telling me to push so that way he can taste my blood. He liked the way that it felt. I started fighting right away. I couldn't fucking deal. I was like this. I can't. Like I know he told me to, but I fucking cannot right now. Like I cannot. And the man was trying to put the. When I say there's some things that I just don't know how to even express or talk about, I can't. Okay. So that one day I lost my shit. I really lost my shit because he was trying to hold me down and he wouldn't stop. And I was trying to like figure out a way to deal with it. I couldn't do it. So I fought him really bad. There was a lot of blood, but it wasn't mine. So my pimp came, and him and about 4 of his friends that were there for other girls, they held me down and stabbed me with a needle and told me if I wasn't going to give blood, they'd make blood. They were stabbing me somewhere else. I'm officially shaking, so we're done with this conversation. But yeah, sledding now. So it's fine. I just need you guys to understand.
It's easy to say Ghislaine's on trial for trafficking and they trafficked and they had an island and yada yada, but you need to know what exactly that means, who that involves.
Yeah.
You need to be looking at who's helping, who's defending her, who's making life easy for her. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And you need to wrap your head around the war that we're actually in. What they did.
It's fine. Not even upset. It's fine.
What they did.
There's a lot. There's a lot, and I think people really need to understand. I'm not even upset right now. I don't even know what the hell's wrong with my body. I'm shaking. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine.
As they say, the truth.
Man, this dude is making me have to edit so much. I get it, but shit. Not saying anything worthwhile. Anyways, that was yeah, that was the one I had been wanting to show, but like I said, I couldn't find the uncensored version now. But I can't say hope you guys enjoyed it because it's not enjoyable. It's eye opening, insightful, uh, it's raging, all of those things, but it's not enjoyable. But yeah, the next one I'm gonna put out is gonna be about when she chose the different altars that she has. So it's not gonna be um, anything like this one. But I just think everything is important to put out there. You know, don't leave something out because it's not tasteful or it's not, you know, if it's information about this kind of stuff, then it should be out there. Everyone should put it out there. Those are just my thoughts on it. It's hard enough on us just watching it, but the people that are going through it, you know, I don't think anyone watching my channel is the age of any of these people that have gone through, are going through, or have been through that. Well, have gone through all the same, but still, you know what I mean. I don't know. My head's messed up from this. Just look out for the next one. It's not going to be like this, but like I said, I thought it was important to put this out there. See you guys on the next one.